Does anybody have any question? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We mentioned earlier that we've got Jambudweep as the island and the saltwater sea around that. And we've also got the other islands and the various other seas around that. We understand that the saltwater, there's a purpose for the saltwater for this specific island and is related to it. What is the purpose of the other islands, like the Ghee Island and the Sugar Island and the Milk Island and so on? What's the purpose related to those specific islands that they support?
Well, I don't know the purpose. We have to, the purpose hasn't been mentioned, just the description has been given. And as you said, there is a purpose. Nothing happens in Krishna's arrangement without a purpose. As you are saying that the salt water has a purpose to this particular island, there is purpose for sugar water in other islands. But everywhere, the water will be evaporated from that particular island, particular ocean, form cloud, and come down in the form of rain. Because ultimately we need pure water.
We said there is alcohol island, sea?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that? That just evaporates, right? Special alcohol, fair enough.
Well, the purpose of alcohol, does alcohol only used for getting drunk? Doesn't alcohol have medicinal effect?
It does, and also
so why should we think in terms of our condition?
No, it's not just, exactly, I understand. It's used in perfume, medicine, etc., etc. Maybe it's used for those purposes.
So, and the consideration is, see, in Lord's creation, how everything is there in abundance. An ocean of alcohol, an ocean of ghee, ocean of yogurt, ocean of milk. Anyway, thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna very much. Thank you for the class. I had two questions. The first one was, do these 7 islands represent the middle planetary system, and how does it relate to the...
This is the Bhumandal. This is the 7 islands in the Bhumandal. Then there is Bhubarloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka.
And the second question, in the chronology, when does Uttanapad become king? Then if Priyavata and then his descendants became, where does Uttanapad and Dhruva fit in?
Well, in Bhagavatam, the description of Uttanapad's king anecdote is before Priyavrata's. But general condition is the father first appoint his eldest son. So we have to understand that Priyavrata became the ruler first, and of another tract, Uttanapad became the king.
Thank you very much, Kamaraj.
Any other question? Yes, Sweta?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, could you explain a little bit more about austerity that we could follow in the material world?
Austerity?
Yes.
Austerity means a voluntary, the way Prabhupada described it. Now it's not a dictionary definition. Dictionary definition is to undergo difficulties, undergo hardship, depriving the body of its immediate needs. These are the dictionary definitions of austerity. Prabhupada is saying that accepting difficulties voluntarily for spiritual advancement, that is austerity. And Prabhupada is giving the example, just as you are sitting in the Bhagavatam class and listening, This is austerity.
The question I have, again, second one, is it important to follow austerity to get onto the spiritual path?
Is it important that you're sitting here listening to Bhagavatam class? Is it important?
But isn't love what would get us onto the spiritual path?
Okay, good point. Yeah. But in order to develop that love, these voluntary difficulties, you see, the body wants to do things. Body wants sense gratification. Pleasure, body wants the pleasure for the senses. Now when you are depriving the body of those pleasures for the sake of your spiritual advancement, that is austerity. And tell me, is it necessary? The body would have said, okay, why come to the class? Let me lie down to be in bed. Right? But you didn't do that. When the body actually wants to take rest, you are depriving the body of that facility and sitting in the class listening to stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, is it necessary for your spiritual advancement? Now, for going through that, you are actually developing a love for Krishna. Like another consideration, following the four regulative principles. Those who are habituated in eating meat, for him it's austerity to give it up. But you're voluntarily accepting it for your spiritual development. That's austerity. Is it necessary? You have to think so much?
Yes, I think for giving up anything which is like alcohol or meat, I think, yeah, that is. If someone is...
Yes, those who are habituated to it, it's difficult to give up. But, one voluntarily does that. And he gets the result also. He sees his consciousness become so much clearer. His heart becomes so much more peaceful. Okay, thank you. Archana?
Thank you very much. When the Lord comes as a personality like Prithu Maharaj or Vishwadev, they are considered like expansion, they are considered, how they are classified?
Oh, good. Very good point. They are generally Shaktavesh avatars. The empowered incarnation. They are Jiva, they are not Vishnu Tattva. You see, there are two Tattvas. Lord's own expansion. He himself becomes many. They are called Swa-amsa, Swa-amsa. And Jivas are Vibhinnamsa. The example is, one sun became two. Is there any difference between two suns? Then these two suns became 10. Is there any difference? They all are the same sun. But the rays of the sun, they're minute, although qualitatively one. So jivas are like the rays, and Vishnu Tattvas are expansions of the Lord himself. Now when some jivas, in order to execute some special mission, is empowered by the Lord, they are called Shaktavesh avatar. Like Rishabdev, Vyasdev, Narad Muni, Parashuram. They are Jiva Tattva, living entities, but empowered by the Lord.
And also, Maharaj, you mentioned that the Kshatriya followed Buddha. It sounds...
Okay, when Lord Buddha came, generally the Kshatriyas, predominantly Kshatriyas, became Buddhists. You see, King Ashok became Buddhist. And he kind of was started to preach, and as a result of that, many Kshatriyas, most of the Kshatriyas became Buddhists.
Usually non-violence.
And the Kshatriyas, yeah, right, Kshatriyas gave up, Kshatriyas became non-violent. And as a result of that, India became weak. Okay, so 9 o'clock, should we, last question, is there any? You have to press the button.
Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for your lecture. Please, you mentioned in your lecture that we come through 4 phases in life: brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. And please, could you tell us, me also, certainly, what are prescribed and also best possible activities in vanaprastha life for one lady to develop love of God and to attract the mercy of the Lord?
Vanaprastha for ladies.
Yes.
You see, according to Vedic culture, the lady's place is at home. The ladies didn't go through brahmachari, grihastha, and they are predominantly grihastha. And when they're young, they are taken care of by the parents. When they grow up, they're taken care of by the husband. And when either they retire with the husband, so the vanaprastha, the wife would either follow the husband or stay at home when the husband leaves home and the son takes the responsibility of the mother. So, you see, in the Vedic culture, a woman's life is solely dependent upon male protection. But now what actually happened, and life has become so easy, that that protection is not necessary. Like, for example, in the Vedic culture, during that time, say, life was quite difficult, like people had to plow the land, collect water from a distance, get the logs from the forest. But now you press a button, water comes. Press another button, the fire comes out. But that was not the way of living in the early days, So those activities, the outdoor activities were designed mainly or assigned mainly to the male people. And the women were meant to stay at home because by nature they are delicate. And they need protection. Women are always needs to be protected. So the society used to give a general protection to the women. Individually, the parents used to give the protection when they were children. Then there used to be grown-up girl who was to be offered to the husband. Then husband's responsibility was to maintain the wife and so forth. And as you asked, the vanaprastha, the husband and wife used to enter into vanaprastha, sometimes together. Does it answer your question?
No, actually.
Okay, tell me what you want.
I wanted to know about activities in spiritual life. Activities in spiritual life.
Yeah. Okay, so you see the spiritual life, generally the woman's spiritual life used to be dependent upon the husband's spiritual advancement. Husband and wife are seen to be a unit together. It's not two different entities, but through marriage they used to become one. And then husband used to make spiritual advancement, and the wife used to get the benefit out of that by assisting him, helping him. But now you can see the society has changed in so many ways. Therefore Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the holy name. And in this age, man, woman, old, young, rich, poor, everybody has one system. Chant the holy name of the Lord. Right? And Vanaprastha is not really so essential in this age. At the most you can move into the temple, leaving home. And Mahaprabhu's teaching is, doesn't matter whichever ashram you're in, whichever varnas, kiva vipra kiva nashi, naham vipra nacha narapati napi vaishya na shudra. Mahaprabhu is saying, I'm not a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. I'm not a brahmachari, I'm not a householder, I'm not a vanaprastha, sannyasi. My identity is that I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So that is our business. In whichever ashram, whichever varna, whichever situation we may be in, our business is to become the servant of the Lord of the Gopis. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande.